Just a few housekeeping questions. Okay, it's now streaming live. I'll start recording in the next 10 seconds. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to another session of Anambra television interview. Our guest tonight is Honorable Chuma Nzenje. Honorable Chuma Nzenje is a governorship aspirant in the forthcoming Anambra governorship election. However, tonight we have a more urgent discussion, and he has accepted to speak on that topic tonight, being the rising insecurity in the southeast region of Nigeria, an existential threat to Ndigbo. Honorable Nzenje, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you, sir.
We will appreciate if you have to introduce yourself to us on your own. You can just give us a brief background of yourself.
I'm Chuma Nzenje. I come from Ihiala local government, from Ihiala town, and I'm an aspirant to the office of Governor of Anambra State.
Will you kindly give us your professional background, please?
Well, I'm essentially an accountant, and then I took on much later security matters, and later served in Anambra State as a state security advisor. I went on to the National Assembly as a member of House of Representatives, and I served in many other committees, including National Security and Intelligence. And I was also at the time chairman of Works Committee. I also headed the Committee on Disaster Management. And since leaving the National Assembly, I've been a private consultant.
We thank you very much. If you kindly tell us again, how long have you been engaged in partisan politics?
Well, I've been in this since 1999. I'm a foundation member of the PDP when it was formed in 1998. And ever since I've been in politics, yes.
Okay, now our topic tonight is the rising insecurity in the southeast region. I'm sure everyone here is aware of what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
How do you assess what is the main cause of this insecurity in the southeast at the moment, in your own opinion?
Well, the current flux state of security in the southeast is not much different from what is obtaining across the country. But in particular reference to southeast is as a result of neglect over the years of the certain parameters, of the certain intelligence that has been available to government, especially since 2015, when President Buhari came into office. There have been rising cases of injustice, and that breeds a lot of resentments on the civil populace. That breeds a lot of dissent on the populace. And over time, emotions build up, and sooner than later, these things get let out. This has been exacerbated by the rise of IPOB. IPOB was an insignificant organization until government sought to promote them by making IPOB an issue. They were not an issue before then, and we have been able to manage our problems. Also, part of the current problems of security in the Southeast, there have been a lot of wars small pockets of wars all over the Southeast. Over time, there was the Umuleri War, there was the war, the wars going on in Ebonyi, and all these things, boundary issues. And when these wars stopped, government failed to embrace a program of decommissioning of arms, making arms very, very cheap in the open market. And of course, most of these ammunitions were gotten from the ECOMOG, the wars in Liberia, and some soldiers returning from ECOMOG, and some smuggled arms over the years. We've had a lot of intelligence when I was in charge of security, which we passed on to the federal authorities. Only God knows what they did with them. But at any rate, most of these ammunitions are available, though illegally. And people embarking on all these small, tough wars, including courts, they patronize these illegal arms markets. And it's part of the continuing problem of challenges we have in security across the Southeast. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we have this 5% problem, the inability of the federal government, of the present government, to treat the Igbos the way they ought to treat everybody, or the way they treat everybody. You could see even the recent pronouncement by Mr. President, I'm sure. We all saw it. We heard him clearly. And this type of feeling of, I can deal with you, really compounds the challenges we have in security, trying to control our people. Older hands start losing control over these youthful elements. And down the street every day,
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think we will have to, you've raised pertinent issues, so we would like to pick them one by one.
Sure.
You've given one of the causes of insecurity in the Southeast. Let's take the first issue you raised, the failure of President Muhammadu Buhari to deal justly with Igbos. Can you briefly expatiate on that, and then we'll take the next point you raised, please?
Specifically, the Igbos feel alienated from the present arrangement at the federal level. You've seen the lopsidedness in the appointments over the past 5-6 years, and a situation where nobody from this tribe, from this Southeast zone, has ever held top security appointment under this government. For example, they're cleverly excluded in the scheme of things, and in deciding major issues that affect the national polity. Don't forget, the Southeast already is structurally disadvantaged. Structurally disadvantaged in the sense that we do not have good representation, specifically in the House of Representatives. The Southeast has just about 42 members, while the Northwest has 93. 93, almost forming a quorum, one zone. And if you now add all this lack of representation, we also know about the issue of inferiority of states. We have had 5 states for too long. We've been agitating to get a 6th state that will bring us at par with the other zones minus Northwest, for example. That has not been done. So in a situation where government says, or as the Constitution says, there should be at least one minister, we'll get 5 ministers, while some zones like Northwest, we get 7 ministers. The same thing with representation in the National Assembly. We have 5 times 33 senators, that's 15 senators. Others, we have 18, 21 senators, while the zone has just 15. So this state of continuing imbalance in the way we are treated, as if we are second-class citizens, as if we are stepsons.
Honorable, how do you create a nexus between the political marginalization of the Igbos and the breakdown of security in the region? What is the nexus?
The nexus is that all this injustice over time has led to agitations for independence, for a breakaway, as you have seen in the case of Masop, as we have seen in the case of IPOB. And essentially, the popular support they are receiving from the ordinary folks in this region. That is worrisome. It is that feeling of unjust treatment over the years that makes those in government to be less popular than figures like Wazirike at one time, and now we have Nnamdi Kanu and the rest of it. So that is the connection. You cannot continue to treat people sociably over years and do not take into account that sometime, somewhere, this thing will start to connect to people's subconscious and lead to resentment.
Okay, some will also say that poor governance from the governors in the Southeast have also created a situation where it is easy for Nnamdi Kanu's message to resonate with the youth in the region. So would you blame the Southeast governors for that state of affairs?
You may not be entirely correct. You may not be entirely correct. The governors in the Southeast have not performed so poorly if you compare their counterparts in, say, the South-South region. How about in the northern states? There have been steady decline in quality of life among the people in, say, the northeastern states over the years. They've not enjoyed the true fruits of democracy. So the performance of Southeast governors might not be a reason for the current problem. Rather, where they blame the Southeast governors is they are being insensitive, or they are being too cooperative with the federal government on issues of, say, internal security in the Southeast. And the issue of development, that is, how much can the governors do without support from the center? How much? The whole states in the Southeast have been unable to build a second Niger bridge until the federal government came in through appropriations from the National Assembly. It was not that the federal government on its own started second Niger bridge. No, it was as a result of appropriation from Southeast member elements in the National Assembly that led the federal government being persuaded to undertake that project. So it is not just an issue for the Southeast. And moreover, when you talk of security, you cannot just leave it for a state. A state is only a component part of the whole. If one state is having security challenges, it could lead to instability in other states, neighboring states, for example. It could lead to trafficking of ammunition across state boundaries, and which over time will also breed on insecurity in those other states. Yes.
Okay, thank you. We are seeing some hands, but please, we will take questions in the next 70 minutes. Ordinarily, I should ask my questions for 1 hour, but because I'm late, I'll now cut my questions to 30 minutes, and then I'll allow the audience to ask their question. Let's get back to our guest at the moment, who is discussing the general state of insecurity in the Southeast. Now, one can say that before President Buhari, there has been agitations for a sovereign state of Biafra. Definitely. And now even Nnamdi started this agitation for IPOB. IPOB existed quite decades before, well, let me not say decade, but several years before President Buhari get into office. But this is the first time we can see the peaceful agitation somehow becoming violent. Why is that?
Good. I'll give you a classical example. You saw what happened in Ekiti State today, where agitators for Dudwa State roam freely along the streets of the state capital. They were not mowed down by bullets. Nobody sent in the army to crush them or police to cut off their limbs. Can IPOB be allowed such luxury anywhere in the Southeast? You saw what happened in Onitsha a few years ago. How over 80 people were crushed, were shot, wounded, little children agitating. None of them was bearing arms. They were not bearing arms. It is still part of the unequal treatment, the injustice that has been the lot of the Igbo man for a sustained long period of time. What we're calling for is a dialogue. It's not that anybody, including myself, we don't support the breakup of this country, but we are asking that those who feel agitated, those who have complaints can be looked into, those complaints can be looked into in a more compassionate and fatherly manner, rather than always responding with military force.
Okay, let me ask this question. Nnamdi Kanu was having his IPOB, and then there wasn't much violence the way it is now until we have the Eastern Security Network. I'm not saying that, well, at this point of the interview, I'm not saying that Eastern Security Network is responsible for the violence. So let's keep it at that. But my question is, Nnamdi Kanu started the Eastern Security Network because in his view, Fulani herdsmen were killing our women, murdering people in the villages. And so the Eastern Security Network was formed, according to him, to countermand the Fulani herdsmen. I have two questions here at this point. Are we really under serious threat from the Fulani herdsmen, in your own opinion? That's number one. And number two, is Nnamdi Kanu justified to form the Eastern Security Network? That's number two. Number three, were the Southeast governors derelict in their duty, not proactive enough in solving the problem, if it exists, without allowing Nnamdi Kanu to form his ESN? Are you able to address these three-pronged questions, please?
Yes. Before now, there have been high-handedness in the way this
I think the network is playing up. We allow our guests to come back. we are discussing rising insecurity in the Southeast and existential threat to Ndigbo. All of us are conscious of what has been happening in the Southeast region of Nigeria, even though there is also a breakdown of security in other parts of Nigeria. But recently, the one happening in the Southeast has dominated center stage. We will get to that level later, but right now we are still laying the foundation for the rising insecurity in the Southeast. And our guest tonight is Honorable Chuma Nzeribe. He was a former special advisor to Anambra State Governor on Security Matters, a former member of the House of Representatives, and now a governorship aspirant in Anambra State. We are waiting for Honorable Chuma Nzeribe to come back to us. I think he's having some internet challenges.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Malik.
Yeah, so while we're waiting for him to come back online,
yes,
may I also just state a few simple facts? I'm from Anambra State.
Go ahead. Why are you answering Dr. Malik then?
I don't know why you're answering a Lumba.
Okay, go ahead. I'm just asking whether it is your, okay, Malik is your name then. That's my question.
Great. Unless you want to find out the genealogy of my name. It's just
okay,
like
go ahead.
Why he named his son.
No. The only thing I want to know is whether your real name is Malik. That's all.
Okay, no, it's supposed to be a pseudonym. No, it's not. Anyway, my name is Malik.
Right. Okay,
Great.
go ahead.
And I'm from Anambra and I'm from Okija.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'm so sorry. We'll be happy to hear from you, but Honorable
is back online.
I think, isn't it? I think he's back, yeah?
If he's back online, I'd like to ask.
Can we unmute him, please, if he's back? Anyone? Can any of the co-hosts unmute him if he's back? I can't see him.
He's not here anymore. He was.
Okay, he was.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Dr. Malik, go ahead then.
Great. You see, the thing is this, in Anambra politics, I really want to crave your indulgence and say, permit me 3 minutes and then I'll run it through once and then you can pen it down if you want to pen it down. However, now, Anambra is at the moment a medium risk state in terms of insecurity, with the so-called proliferation of Fulani militia. I like to always say Fulani militia. We have lived with herdsmen for donkey years in this same country, and then it is. All
right, Honorable Nzeribe appears to be back. Don't worry, we'll allow you to speak, but whenever he's back, we'll allow him to go in. Can we please unmute Honorable Nzeribe, please?
So now, my point is this. When we tend to keep harping on this thing, Fulani herdsmen, we have had herdsmen living with us. We've had issues of clashes. Before anybody, well, we've had clashes, minute ones anyway, back in the days and years. Then all of a sudden, this becomes a serious problem. As the government of today, after they had told all the sorts of lies they told about the PDP era, being able to nip it in the bud, no, because they enabled it. But that is aside the point. My point has remained. This is about an Anambra situation where
all right, Honorable Nzeribe is back. Yes, Honorable Chuma Nzeribe, you are welcome back. Our guest is back.
He's frozen. He's not back. He's frozen.
All right, Malik, still make your point.
So now, if he's frozen because he's in transit, I understand. But my point is this. We are discussing a situation of insecurity in the Southeast. In the Southeast, there are 5 states. The 5 states, I will take from what Honorable Chuma Nzeribe said. Have the governors performed abysmally? No, they haven't. Was it about the dereliction of duties as governors that whatever it is that is happening in the Southeast is happening? No, is my answer again. We read from social media, and what we want is a situation where a certain Okeze Bazu or a certain Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi or a certain Dave Umahi from Ebonyi or a Willie Obiano or the next person replacing Willie Obiano, which inshallah is coming from PDP, or a certain Hope Kotdema is going to challenge this power in the center. No, that's not how politics or democracy or even governance works. Sometimes we are the disadvantaged people, to be very honest. If Chuma and Zeribe were online, I would have asked him a direct question, and that question would have been, are the Igbos really marginalized? No, we are not. No, we are not marginalized. That is the honest truth.
Okay, what's your...
We have
what's your reason for saying...
ourselves.
What's the reason for saying...
In this country,
hello,
we have everything to make it work.
Dr. Malik,
second
are you hearing me?
That the government
Dr. Malik
always tends to use to taunt us and tell us, oh, we are building second Niger bridge. How much is second Niger bridge? One Igbo man can pay for it. 657 kilometers is the entire roads starting from Anioma in Delta State, around the entire Southeast. We can build it. In 18 months, if we want to put an airport in every state in the Southeast, we can put it. And it will come from one person's pocket. So what are we talking about, really?
Dr. Malik, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
I'm just being very angry.
Hello, Dr. Malik, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can, sir.
All right. Let me ask you a question. I think when Dr. Nzeribe, he's not here, but I will say that when Dr. Honorable Nzeribe say the Igbos are not marginalized, I don't think he's talking in terms of whether Igbos have the financial capacity to undertake some projects. Because from your definition of marginalization, it appears you are saying that Igbos have the capacity to build the second Niger bridge. I think what is they...
Sorry, if I may interject, I think the
host is back. Okay, he's back. Okay, please. Yes, let's we have to rename
myself, don't worry.
All right. Okay, we're happy to come back to you what you are saying, but our guest is back. So Honorable Nzeribe, you are making a point about IPOB before Buhari, and then IPOB before the formation of Eastern Security Network, and then whether the Southeast governors we are not proactive enough to have an equivalent of ESN network to address the perceived challenges from the Fulani herdsmen. So that is where you answer. You can go on, please. Is our guest still online? I don't think it's connected with this audio.
He's trying to do that.
Thank you.
He's back on.
He's back on.
We have so many things to talk about today. I hope we have time to finish them. We have the banning of Twitter in Nigeria, and all those things comes under this topic. I think our guest is back. Oh.
He's back on. He's trying to connect to audio.
I am.
Hello, sir. You are back.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether you still you've lost your train of thought.
Well, not rightly. When Masop sought to disrupt the census, and the security agencies arrested and locked up about 95 of them, I went to the State Security Council meeting, and I was able to share the information I have with
It's frozen.
my colleagues, the CP, for secret 95 MASOP members, and they carried their wahala to elsewhere. That's where we're able to have a successful census in Anambra State then, minus Newi South and parts of Obaru that didn't bring back good returns then. It surprised a lot of people that we had one of our best figures from Idemili North. That was one of the hotbeds of the agitation by MASOP then. So the way you treat some of these people could even make them very resentful of you. So what I'm saying, in effect, that we should be able to treat these people decently. They are asking for independence. It's not a crime, but if they take arms against their state, that is a crime. That is a point of departure. Then coming to the issue of Kalu, ESN, and the gospel truth was that the governors abdicated or cleared off the public space. And that allowed Kalu, in his own estimation, to think that the Eastern Security Network can fill in the gap. He could not fill in the gap, but it was the fault of the governors to have created that space, which they tried to occupy. But at any rate, the government reaction to MASOP in these past few years has not really helped matters.
You mean IPOB?
Yes, it was wrong to have called IPOB a terrorist organization. You banned them, you drove them underground, and police and the security agencies lost the leverage of monitoring their activities. We have only succeeded in driving Nnamdi Kanu out of the country, and he's all over the place, disturbing your peace here. So time has come for government to de-prescribe IPOB and allow credible leaders in Igbo land to talk to him, to call him to order, and to reconcile him with the federal government. It is achievable. This is the time to show statesmanship and bring everybody to the table. It is not the time to show force. The present militarization of our peaceful life in the Southeast is unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And I, for one, do not believe that the issue of, in quote, unknown gunmen cannot be nipped in the bud now before it assumes a life of its own. They've been all over the place disturbing the peace in Imo State. Imo State is part of the Southeast. If Imo State is unsafe, I cannot even come to my village in Iyal in Anambra State because I use Imo Airport most of the time. So I'll be affected. And so vice versa. It is important we resolve this issue. Why is this issue of unknown gunmen thrives more in the Southeast? We need to resolve it. Are there other actors, non-state actors or state actors, who are masquerading as unknown gunmen and disturbing our peace in the Southeast? All these things will come through diligent investigation, not one that is biased, because every young man, for example, they see on the road, they classify him as MASOP or IPOB. They are not. They may not be. We should not criminalize ordinary citizens for no good reason. Those who go against the law should be punished according to the law, but they should be treated humanely. You don't shoot them in the two legs.
Okay, let me ask this question. There is
no, your third problem is the issue of herdsmen. I want to address that.
okay.
I want to tell you sincerely that for over 99% of communities in Anambra State, no group of herdsmen can overrun us. I give you that assurance. But however, I want to tell that it is wrong for anybody to have allowed armed gunmen calling themselves herdsmen to invade our state. This can be curtailed. This can be dealt with through the state apparatus of security, through intelligence, quality intelligence, and through communal effort. Every community in Anambra State has this vigilante service, but they have been poorly funded, and the operations are poorly supervised too. They're supposed to collect intelligence, not just on criminals, but on crime, the nature of crime, and process it up through the DPO and the station chief of SSS to appropriate quarters in Oka, who will process this thing, and it becomes an actionable intelligence which they will share with their bosses there and with the governor of a state. But these people are poorly supervised. And this is the time to reduce all rural violence, because in all rural communities, there appears to be lack of law and order. Somebody somewhere has withdrawn police from all over the place. That is totally wrong. We complained that there was too much policing. Yes, there was too much policing. If you go from Ihiala to Onitsha, you meet about 7 traffic holdups because of what policemen were doing. We only asked their bosses, talk to them, tell them this is not how to do, because you will make people to resent your presence on that road. But in reaction, they withdrew all of them. Maybe, why should you say that? We'll continue to say that their conduct on the streets was nothing to write home about. The way they freely and openly collect monies from people. And if they're not making returns to their bosses, nobody would have been posting them there. Because we know that each patrol van makes a return to higher authorities, people higher than him, from the local level up to the state. Were we wrong to have complained about it? Certainly not. And the reaction wouldn't be to withdraw policemen. What you are trying to create is anarchy in our rural communities. And we have so many of them. Over 90% of our people live in rural areas. How many people live in Oka and Onitsha and the Newi? Very few. Most of us live in the rural areas. And there is totally lack of policing in these areas. And the community vigilantes are not being supervised. I don't know what the people in Oka think they are doing. You cannot control community vigilantes.
Let me.
That's the cause of instability. The herdsmen should not graze openly in our lands. They are destroying crops. They are of economic value. There are better ways, acceptable forms of breeding cattle. And that should be done. And that is private business, by the way. It shouldn't be the business of my community to use the grass in our farms to feed their cattle. And by the way, the so-called herdsmen, why is it that, are they really herdsmen? They come in here, instead of reporting to the community, they go and stay in the bush. And somebody coming to your house should not stay in the bush. When I was security advisor, I had a lot of herdsmen operating in Anambra State. And we had continuous dialogue with them. They even assisted us. The herdsmen in Anambra, East, West, and IML assisted us to recover a lot of ammunition from the bush where the ex-militants hid their guns in the bush. But we worked through their leaders to get their cooperation. Yes, we should talk to them.
So in other words, you are agreeing that these Fulani herdsmen have a militia wing. Is that what you understand?
Yes, there are criminal elements operating within them. And these people should be deterred from coming into this state. If I'm governor of Anambra State, I bet you no man will step foot into this state. If he does me, he won't be happy with my reaction. Because I'm going to police every community vigilante service to make sure that they supply the state apparatus the information needed, which when processed becomes intelligence to be acted upon by the security agencies. You don't
Honorable, last week, President Muhammad Buhari, in reaction to this rising insecurity in the Southeast, blamed it squarely on IPOB, saying that it is this agitation for Biafra that is causing the step breakdown of security in the Southeast region. And then the president said that we will talk to them in the language they will understand. And that was after referencing to what happened during the Biafran War. How do you see that statement by the president that they will speak to this agitating youths in the language they will understand? Are we freezing again?
Hello? Hello? Are you with me?
You are back. Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. President's speech was uncalled for. Very uncalled for. The language they will understand and what he said thereafter, like our experience in the war, it's not something you should just remind us of the cuff. For Christ's sake, we lost 3 million human beings. 3 human beings, not cattle. It was wrong for Mr. President to have used those words. And I expect that he will have an opportunity tomorrow or next, or in the nearest future, to really apologize. The language he used was too harsh. It was not conciliatory. He didn't show leadership, and we all condemn it. However, we also call for moderation on our people. We ask the Southeast governors, because they are the elected officials, to stop vacating the public space. The Southeast governors, under the leadership of, I think, Governor Umahi, should urgently call for a Southeast security meeting. All the elected members of House of Rep and Senate, plus all the speakers, with certain figures, 2 or 3 people from each state, they should come together and pick their brains on what can be done to resolve the security challenges we have. Because the Southeast, the Igbos, are a mercantile nation. We are traders. And trading cannot thrive with insecurity. We need security to breed a wave of prosperity among our people. It is contingent of the Southeast governors to show leadership at this very time, this very difficult time, call up NAS members, call up the speakers, and call up certain community, or those who are versed on all these security matters, and they come up with solution. And part of that solution will be an appeal to Mr. President to please de-prescribe IPOB so that we can talk to them. Right now, if you go your own to go and talk to Nnamdi Kanu, you could be accused for treason. And in the meantime, he's loose out there. And the majority of the youths in the Southeast listen to him every day. Everybody has WhatsApp. They're sharing messages. They get his message, they get his instructions. And that is not what we need at this time. The economy is just coming out from COVID setbacks. We need to regrow our economy. We need to refloat the system. Our industries are dying. We need to bring them to life. But we need peace for this to thrive. And the Southeast governors must do something about it. And very, very quickly too.
All right, my questions are drawing to a close. Some northern leaders have accused, you belong to the political elites of the Southeast. So some northern leaders have accused you and your colleagues of not speaking out against the activities of IPOB and therefore contributing to the state of insecurity in the Southeast. What is your response to these northern leaders and their spokesmen?
They are wrong. They are myopic. You are streaming this interview live. It's on internet. And I'm speaking out where I should. I call for IPOB to de-prescribe so that we can talk to them. I've asked that the elders talk to Ndigbo, bring him, reconcile him with government, and bring him to the conference table because the youths out there listen to him. And what we complain about are armed herdsmen. We are not saying that ordinary herdsmen should not operate where they should operate. But these armed ones are not wanted. They are a militia. They are not wanted here. And they may be part of a larger agenda. So any northern elite accusing us does not understand the problem. We have a solution. I've just proven one. Others may have others. Mr. President, if he wakes up tomorrow and say no more open grazing in Nigeria, all this tension will die down. All these Fulani herdsmen coming from across our boundaries will stop coming. It was his language that they mistook for an open invitation. And they want to overrun our backyards and forests, foraging all over the place. No, we don't want that. Nobody wants anybody to come to his community and go and settle in the forest or in the bush. If you come here, come and take residence among us. We see you every morning. We salute, we greet, we bond. I must tell you, I am also proud, very proud of certain leaders have spoken in the North. We must give them credit where we should. Most of them protected a lot of Igbo properties too, even though we lost a lot of our people. But I know that people in the northeast part of Nigeria, especially in Adamawa state, protected us so much. In Plateau, they protected us so much. We must give credit to them. But for Christ's sake, we lost 3 million people. And Mr. President should not rudely remind us that we lost 3 million people.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chuma Nzenje, for addressing this topic for the past, so going to 1 hour now, rising insecurity in the Southeast and existential threat to Ndigbo. Let's take some questions now. We were listening to, let's take Dr. Malik first. Dr. Malik wanted to ask you some questions. Dr. Malik, can you unmute yourself and we will happily take your real name, if you don't mind.
Yes, I have unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Great, you can hear me now.
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. Right Honorable Chuma Nzenje.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. The truth is this. Anambra TV has asked you a couple of questions while you were offline, which I asked, or which I was trying to ask, and you've answered them correctly. One is the fact that what we are arguing about is not about herdsmen, but basically armed militia that are of Fulani extraction. I like the fact that you have answered that clearly, and then cleared the fact that I have always stated that we have had herdsmen living with us for over how many years, and we've never had this kind of carnage in the counties until now, until Muhammadu Buhari became president of Nigeria. We have never had this sort of thing, and now we are experiencing it. However, the Southeast governors, regardless of party formations or party platforms, have not been indolent or inactive. What people have always expected was for everybody to come out and say, oh, we support Nnamdi Kanu, oh, we support IPOB. The basis of this meeting, Zoom meeting, this evening was supposed to be about the rising insecurity.
Hello, Dr. Malik, can you please make your questions brief so that others will have a shot?
I've had Dr. Malik.
All right.
If you don't mind. Dr. Malik, the Mr. President didn't speak.
A wrong statement. The right honorable has also expressed, and he has spoken out about it.
Can I chip in something?
Yes,
Mr.
go
President
ahead.
didn't speak well as a statesman, as a father of the country, when he made those unfortunate statements. But we can't keep crucifying him. I believe he has had our criticisms. And as I said, I expect in the next, he will use one occasion to correct that impression. It was unfortunate because he reminded us of the 3 million people we lost in the war. He reminded us of everything we lost across the country. He reminded us that in your own country, your property became abandoned in certain sections of the country. We shouldn't be. But I believe we can't keep hammering on that. He's obligated to treat us the way he treats every other person. As I gave this thing that happened, you saw, what's his name, Sunday, somebody, parading the streets with hundreds and hundreds of people all over Ekiti State. Was it today or yesterday? And nobody shot at them. If IPOB moves from Headbridge to Opiweka in that form, over 2,000 people will lay dead on that street, on that section alone. And we don't want it. But we're not even clamoring for those things. We're only asking to be treated well. This country needs to be constructed in such a way that you don't feel so alienated. How many years now after the Civil War, Igbos are still begging, can we take a turn at the presidency? When people know we have the ability, we have the capacity, we have the knowledge, we have the intellect to produce a credible president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, of Igbo extraction. We're not calling for an Igbo president, no. We're calling for a Nigerian president of Igbo extraction so that he can join hands with the rest of the country in rebuilding this country. A lot has been lost. We need to get to work. We should stop all these base sentiments of clinging to our tribe, to our people, and have a much more national outlook in our behavior and utterances. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chumanzeri. I think you answered my question, which was my most concern.
It is frozen again.
That was the only one I wanted to find out from him.
Hello, are we? I think our guest internet is freezing again, or is it mine?
No, he already answered the question. Next question, sir.
He's actually logged off now. So Dan, you can attend to the next question, please.
I think he himself is frozen.
Dan, your internet is frozen. I hope the ban on Twitter is not affecting the internet.
Okay, take over now. If my internet is frozen,
we can
please
hear
take
you
over.
now. Go ahead. We can hear
Okay,
you.
if it's frozen, you take over.
Okay.
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay, let's hear from one Ejikeme, please.
Good evening, Honorable. If you're still there, I called you from the general. I think, in my view, and this is also a question to you, I think we are just scratching this stuff on security on the surface, because you will agree with me that governance is a social contract, and the social contract between the federal government and the people has broken down completely, with the government, reneging on every aspect of its responsibility. So what you're seeing is a reaction of the people from all parts of the country. And following that will be a certain breakdown of law and order and failure also of the law enforcement agencies. We're hearing about unknown gunmen, Fulani herdsmen, bandits, kidnappers, etc., etc. A responsible government, if we have one, has not been able to apprehend and protect and mete out consequences on any one of them. People are watching, we're all like children, and we're seeing what government is doing. So the same applies to what's happening in the Southeast. Up until February this year, it's been a very, very relatively peaceful environment. But from nowhere, we have armed militiamen in our backyard. I don't know where they come from. They're all over my village, but nature is a funny thing. Like Honorable said, my community, my village, and every other village will rise arm for arm, man for man, and defend themselves. So if we want to really understand where this insecurity is coming from, I'm sure, Honorable, that there will be good intelligence on who is sponsoring them, who is providing them with logistics, and whom they are working for. And until we address this issue, all this talk is actually just scratching the matter on the surface. So this is my comment. If you have a view, please, you can express that on what I said. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Honorable Nzenje, please. Are we taking the answer from Honorable Nzenje, please?
He's frozen again.
Oh, I thought it was me this time. All right, let's hear from.
Should I repeat myself when it comes back?
Well, it depends on whether he had you or not. If he had you, then of course there'll be no reason for you to repeat yourself.
I'll wait.
But since you are waiting for him, but once he comes back, he will just take over immediately. But I will call on, I think, okay, he's no longer there. Okay, let's call on Sir Chris Chikwere, please. You wanted to make a comment.
Something in response to what Nnamdi said. I think that's his name. We don't know.
Dr. Malik, I would like us to have this discussion in an.
I just want to.
Dr. Malik, I would like to have this discussion in a very organized manner. So we are calling on Sir Chris Chikwere, please. Are you able to mute yourself, sir?
I've already unmuted myself.
Go ahead, sir. What do you want to say? Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, the host.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you also, the Honorable Chuma. Hello, can I be heard?
Yes, go ahead.
Am I being heard?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Thank you for hosting such, do I call it a security summit? And once again, I hope the people, they won't come down on Zoom. Now they have started talking on Twitter, that Twitter needs to be closed down. So at least thank God that this channel is still open for us to talk. So what I'm actually talking on the issue of security, more especially as the major discussant is talking on the southeastern Nigeria. It needs a coordinated approach whereby our governors, the stakeholders, and the security operatives need to close ranks and have a collective approach and discussion, and now meet with the government at the center, where they can be able to listen to the agitations of people, check the ones that are real, check the ones that are imaginary, so that they can be able to do something that can now make the region, which is being seen as the best secured region before this time in Nigeria, to be as it was. Because presently, as I'm talking to you, people are afraid. People don't go out again. People don't go to their businesses and works. If you come to some of the major cities where you can say there's a little nightlife before, now those cities are becoming ghost of itself. For instance, let's talk about Owerri. Before you know, in each of 2 hours or 3 hours, people run at Owerri. Someone will just call it that they just ran from one place to one place, trying to get themselves secured because of things that have been going on in those areas. So my advice and my suggestion to our host, Honorable Chuma Njenje, the civilian general, is for him, as former member of National Assembly, who might have had 1 or 2 contacts, to now help in galvanizing our governors to come together and form a bloc that can be able to move and get these things resolved before it gets out of hand.
We thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Sir Chris Ticola. Thank you. Yeah.
Please,
yes, go ahead, Honorable.
Yes. Sir Chris, that could be achieved. I bet you if I'm elected governor of Anambra State, there will be absolute security here within 30 days. All these hydra-headed monsters, criminals masquerading as this and that, will be off the street. The governor must show the resolve to tackle challenging matters, security matters. And that includes dealing with anybody who constitute himself into a nuisance to the security of Anambra State. That much we can assure you. We need security to promote commerce. Our people are good in commerce, and we must have an enabling environment. And I also assure you that the governors of Southeast, I'm sure, we have been able to pass on some of these suggestions to them. And believe in the next week or 2, we'll see something like the Security Core Summit we are calling. Not a jamboree, not a go to Southeast meeting by 12 o'clock and close by 3. They should be able to stay there for 2 days, pick their heads, call in the CPs and the DSS state directors from the 5 states, all of them, into one hall, and we find a solution to all this problem. We can't continue like this. The security is everything. Security is everything. We can't just continue like this. And you will see how the Southeast will move. Thank you, Chief Priest.
All right. Let's take. There was a question by sorry, the previous. Yeah. Sorry.
What did he ask? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, are you still here? Sorry, I've forgotten your name. Can you unmute yourself if I still have to ask you a question?
Mr.
One name, I
Wanne.
think.
Yes.
Yeah, one name. I don't know whether he's still there.
But what did he ask?
Sorry, I've really.
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay, let's call on.
Okay. I'm here now.
Sorry.
I'm here now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question before you got frozen was the issue of security in Nigeria, I think, may be coming from the top. Because if it's not coming from the top, there would have been consequences. Some of these are non-government, all these were going and running around the whole place with AK-47. So no, at least 2 or 3 would have been arrested, prosecuted, and then put in prison as a lesson for the people. Because I just heard you now of what you will do if you become governor with regard to security, but you know how weak a governor is in terms of command. He can't deploy, he can't command, he can't do anything. So if this problem is coming from the top, and it seems like it's coming from the top, because like I said, the body language from the top suggests that.
Okay,
How
Chief,
do we deal with
let,
it
let,
without
let me quickly
resorting to anarchy? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let me quickly deal with this issue, sir. When the governors collect their security vote, they don't give excuse that the security commissioner of police are appointed from Abuja. They don't give that excuse. So it is not valid to say because you don't have full control of the police and SSS that you cannot utilize huge sums of money, some as much as 1 billion naira a month, they collect on security, some 500 million on security. It is not enough reason. I've been in this business and I know it's not enough reason. A governor should have a network of intelligence that government operating in his domain. You just can't go free. You won't go free with me. I'll capture at least 1 or 2 and make a set example with him, after which I will hand him over. So let me see how federal government will tell him to go home. So the government should stop giving excuses that are not in control of this or that. Listen, we need these security challenges to be resolved so that we can bring back nightlife to the streets of Anambra State. Most of our young men are involved in the movie industries. Movie industries thrive at night. Movie industries thrive with security. And we're allowing everything to deteriorate. It's not acceptable to me. They are taking the juice, which is the security vote, and leave it off with the shaft of the orange, which is insecurity. We will not accept that, sir.
All right. At this point, I will call on Honorable, if you allow me. Dr. Mwankwo will have requested to address one issue and see how you will respond to it. On June 3, 2021, Senator Bull Kachowa Tonda says that Southeast is home to criminals, rebels, and deserve to be eliminated, and therefore they deserve death and not the presidency. This Senator Adamu Bull Kachowa is the chairman, Senate Committee on Foreign Relations. He is also the husband to the president of the Court of Appeal. He said, these are people who feel democracy is not good enough for them, and they want to devise their own means of belonging to this entity called Nigeria. And if they don't have it, they will let Nigeria go to pieces. Therefore, in other words, since the Igbos are allowing IPOB to thrive in their area, they do not deserve the presidency in 2023. I will let Mwankwo Mwezigwe speak on this topic for 3 minutes and then see how you respond to it. Dr. Mwezigwe, you are free to unmute yourself, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Elomba. I think Honorable Chuma Nserebe has been trying, but quite in a mild manner. The point is that most of them are afraid to talk, as you can see him picking his words, which is quite unfortunate. First, you cannot treat the security of the Southeast in isolation of the entire insecurity plaguing the nation presently. We have to ask ourselves one fundamental question. From Southern Kaduna to Nasarawa, Plateau, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue State, how many herdsmen have been arrested and prosecuted? How many herdsmen have been shot dead in the course of their actions by security forces? Our people have refused to voice out on this. Now, we are talking about security in the Southeast. Just yesterday, about 50 people were killed in Egongo in Oyo State by herdsmen. So it's not a question of Anambra. And I'm surprised that Honorable Chuma be talking about Igbo men are businessmen because they travel, because you travel, and you are commercial oriented. You should not become a slave in your own land. Who can be more travel than the Jews? Who can be more commercial, more business like that than the Jews? Who suffer pogrom, who suffer Holocaust? Yeah, they continue fighting for their survival. The issue in question is about survival. And expect people like Chuma and Nzeribe to have come out to challenge somebody like Senator Bokawa, the president senator from Bauchi State, who is the husband of the president of Federal Court of Appeal, to say that Southeast deserves to die because they are criminals, they are abductors, they are all for that, they don't supposed to live. He said a few days ago. And I've not seen any single Igbo leader who has come out to challenge him. To only Ohanese Youth Council, gave a favorable response. And every time we continue talking about peace in the Southeast, there can never be peace in the Southeast if there's no peace in other parts of Nigeria. I was surprised just last week, about 30 Igbo people in Eza living across Benue State were massacred. The only statement the governor of Ebonyi State could utter was, if Benue State cannot protect our Igbo people, let them see the territory to us. Did they speak like somebody with intelligence? Benue State has been under siege. They have been killing them. You have refused to even meet the governor. No Igbo leader has met the Benue State governor. Look, we're having the same problem. The same threat from one particular people. How can we synergize? How can we work together to solve this problem? You are talking of ceding the territory when they are still killing you. I think most of our problem are the Igbo leaders. If Nnamdi Kanu came up with Eastern Security Network, it's because the common people saw themselves unprotected by the policies, by the feeble, lukewarm, clear-footed, giant policies of their leaders.
Okay,
what we expecting now? No, let me conclude. What the Igbo people should be expecting now is to invoke the provisions of 1948 United Nations Convention on crime, on genocide. Because for whatever it takes, whichever side you see it, what is taking place in the Southeast today has actually qualified for the invocation of that convention. There's genocide there. It's very, very clear, even supported by the Rome Statutes of International Criminal Court. Go and look at it. So we should be talking about, invoking this convention. Let people know that this is not 1966. Let people know that this is not 19th century, where people can kill people and just go free. There are people, after all, how many people did Habre kill in Southern Sudan that made him to take life imprisonment? Just 40 people in Southern Chad, Christians there, and it's there languishing. Chancellor is there. Let them realize that they have already committed it. And the Igbo have the way with that. The Igbo have the connection. Take it international and take people and let them know that they can go to prison for what is happening, and not by clapping and weeping like like an abandoned wife with her parents. Let me stop there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Well, I would believe Honorable Nzenje will have been able to pick some points on which to respond from what you've said. Honorable Nzenje, do you have any response to this? Honorable Chuma Nzenje, are you still with us, please? Nigerian internet is a huge problem, although mine also causes problems. If it's not here, can we take
again?
Okay, yeah. Let's take a comment from. Is he still here? There are hands raised. Do you have a comment or a question? If it's a question, then you have to wait for our guest to come back. But if it's a comment, you are free to make it. If you have a comment, please unmute yourself if you have raised your hand. I can see Ichie Agara Unebu, Team Elo, Tango Gochukwu. If you have a comment, unmute yourself and make a comment. But if it's a question, then please wait for Honorable Nzenje to come back. Go ahead.
Right. Mine is both a comment and a question, but more of a comment, though I would have loved to hear Honorable's input to that. I am making an observation here. Since this week, since this week, Igbos have been under serious attack in Abuja. Honorable Tafida Mafindi, who was invited to a book launch written by an Igbo professor, but instead of commenting, accepting or rejecting the invitation, he took a large swipe at the whole Igbo nation, saying that Igbos are ungrateful, even though I'm still wondering what Igbos should be grateful for. Nigeria called Igbos a lot of names, unspeakable, unprintable. One will wonder what must have instigated him to make such ballistic comments. Then on Saturday, a group of women, even though I noticed that some of them could not read what was printed on the banner they were flagging about, we are protesting in Abuja, asking the president to initiate a referendum. Let the Igbos choose whether they want to remain in Nigeria or whether they will leave. That a referendum is apparent. And just yesterday also, I got a letter written by Coalition of Northern Group to the Emir of Kano, Ado Bayero, telling him to initiate, to facilitate or rather to help facilitate the new nation of Biafra for the Igbos, because the Igbos don't deserve to be in Nigeria anymore. They also call them unprintable names. And again,
if I may ask a question, if I may ask a question, this letter you are talking about, who wrote it?
Coalition of Northern Groups.
Okay, our guest is back. Honorable Chuma Nzenje, you are welcome back. Okay, if he's still present, Tim, why I'm asking this question is,
yes,
are the Igbos simply being a crybaby? That's why I wanted to ask this question. I wanted to see what the Honorable will say. If Senator Bokachua made a personal statement, if this person you are talking about, you invited him to a book launch, you recorded his statement, it was not a public statement, it's a private conversation, you recorded it. And then, are the Igbo being a crybaby whereby personal individual opinion by Northerners are being interpreted as a gang up against the Igbos? That's my question. And someone has just asked this question now. How does a personal statement by a senator diminish your person as an Igbo? This coalition of groups who wrote this letter, who are they? Who are they representing? Because if every day we listen to Nnamdi Kanu shouting, Fulani, 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 every day I come to this program, people are shouting, Fulani, Fulani, Fulani. So these are personal opinions. How does that diminish your value as an Igbo? It's a question. I would have loved to see how Honorable Njenje will address that question. But if you can take it up, go ahead.
All right. Why I find it a matter of concern is that the letter I mentioned, for example, was signed by one Nastura A. Sharif, which is the chairman board of trustees of coalition of northern groups. And these northern groups, the last time they issued a statement, numbered about 47 groups. So we are not talking of individual statement here anymore, are we? We are now talking of a group of people who represent a larger group of persons from a region of the country. Now they wrote a letter to His Highness.
Is our guest back? Is our guest back? Sorry. Is our guest back, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Please, I need to contribute a little, beg. Permit me small.
Let's listen to our guest, then you can continue. I guess Honorable Chimanzeribe is back. I don't know whether you had the contributions by Dr. Mwezigwe, please.
No, yes, I had. Let me address that issue.
Yes.
Mr. Nwankwo,
Yes,
Mr. Nwankwo, I know Bokachua. He was in the House of Rep before he went to the Senate. He did not even win his primaries. Adam Sochimole wrote his name in. I think he came fourth because the wife was Court of Appeal. He's not a serious guy. I will rather discuss very salient national security matters than talk about Bokachua. The Southeast Caucus in the Senate should deal with him, with his statements. Very responsible statement. I also want to assure you that people like me are not afraid to talk the truth or to speak truth to power. I don't see anybody in this contest for governor who has called for the de-prescription of IPOB. Nobody wants to deal with such issues, but I do, because I feel pained that all my achievements as a security advisor has withered away. Our people now go in by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock like chicken. I want to see nightlife back on the streets of Anambra State. I want to see our community vigilante services operate and being supervised properly, working under the police and SS, even at the local levels, sharing information. I want to see the state governors apply the security funds they collect to resolve security challenges, not to use it to buy dollars to export abroad. I'm not afraid also to tell my people if they're crossing bounds. I'll be strong enough to tell them, please, let's pull back from this brink. The situation now calls that we pull back from the brink. We want genuine discussion on security matters in the Southeast. By we, Southeasterners, we find a solution to our problems. The challenges they have today in Northeast started from this type of things that happen here now. And it has wiped out the entire economy of the entire Northeast, almost, minus Adamawa and to an extent, parts of Yobe. So we speak truth to power. And if I'm called upon to proffer solutions, I will. We have made far-reaching suggestions on this platform tonight, and I'll continue to address those issues. The issues of herdsmen has not been substantially addressed by our governors. To start with, the language of Mr. President by calling for their accommodation, let's be accommodating, was very offensive, because to start with, it's just encouraging foreigners to come and occupy our forests. It's a national security threat. And I didn't see any governor address those issues. We want to see them write officially to the NSA, to Mr. President, analyzing the implication of these things to life in the Southeast. As governor, I will do that. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. When you are, Tim Elo, can you quickly, in 1 minute, ask your question now? Quickly, please. Our time is running out.
Can I just quickly ask this question, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
All right, Tim, go ahead. We cannot hear from Sam again. Tim, quick, please.
All right.
Mike, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sam, we wanted you to speak and then we didn't hear from you again.
It's muted.
Someone is muting me.
Go ahead. I'm not muting you. Go ahead.
Okay. My question is this. It's directed to the honorable. Okay. As a governorship aspirant, okay, how easy, okay, if elected, how is he going to deal with the insecurity coming from the Fulani herdsmen, okay, considering he's not in charge of the security apparatus in the states? Don't forget, he's not in charge of the police command, okay? So how is he considering to deal with this herdsmen, or how is he considering to deal with this insecurity coming from the Fulani herdsmen? That's my question.
Okay. The governor of a state has so much leverage on issue of security. One, he controls the pulse. He should exercise that control in favor of his state, not in favor of his fears. Number two, I will strengthen rural security apparatus, because that's where the problems are coming. The problems are not in Awka and Onitsha. The problem of the herdsmen are coming from far-flung communities in Anambra North area, principally, and inside some of the far-flung areas in Anambra South. The local governments in the middle are less affected. If you strengthen the community vigilante services there, empower them and give them the tools to challenge any herdsman moving around. We have laws. The laws should be obeyed. They have a right to defend themselves, to defend their communities. That's why they are government-operated, not even licensed, government-operated community vigilante. The vehicles they use, everything they have, belongs to government. They belongs to the state government. It's not when you send people to go to Lagos and bring used cars and give to vigilante formations. You expect them to fight unknown gunmen with the used vehicles. Those ones are using brand new chips and other things they stole from people, or maybe given to them by their sponsors. So there are a lot a governor of a state can do. The governor can also make investments on intelligence. I tell you that the principal thing to do is for you to show a clear understanding between the nature of crime, the criminals, and criminality. If you don't understand how this operates, you might not be able to have a good hand on the security network. The governor should set up apparatus that will give him credible information on what is happening, in addition to the ones he receives from SSS every morning. Normally, the governor shares it with his security advisor on daily basis. And why does SSS have to share intelligence, or police have to share intelligence with the governor? It's for you to know what is happening, and it's for you to act. You are not there. You can't continue to be a zombie, complaining always because you didn't appoint a commissioner of police. Or motivate the commissioner of police well. Motivate the state director of SSS. They will work for you. Motivate the civil defense. Come. They will work for you. Motivate a community policing. Put in parameters for surveillance. And make sure you supervise them. They will work for you. How can you, every month you collect 1 billion naira of state money for security, you account to nobody, and you claim after all, you didn't appoint the police and the SSS. To me, that's a lame excuse. And nobody should do that again. People, Southeast governors shouldn't be talking like that. Or any governor whatsoever. It's a lot of money to make a difference on the security of your state. With half of that amount, I will tell you there will be no pickpocket in Anambra State if I'm security advisor.